The conflict between Israel and Hamas is fast becoming a world war. Iran, Russia, and to a lesser degree, China have used state media and the world's major social networking platforms to support Hamas and undercut Israel, while denigrating Israel's principal ally, the United States. Before we dive in details, please subscribe to the channel and stay always one step ahead to know all global important events happening around you. Give a thumbs up and share the video with your family and friends. Let's move on with the video. Iran's proxies in Lebanon, Syria and Iraq have also joined the fight online, along with extremist groups like Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State that were previously at odds with Hamas. The deluge of online propaganda and disinformation is larger than anything seen before, according to government officials and independent researchers, a reflection of the world's geopolitical division. It is being seen by millions, hundreds of millions of people around the world, said Rafi Mendelsohn, vice president at Tiabra, a social media intelligence company in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's impacting the war in a way that is probably just as effective as any other tactic on the ground. Tiabra has documented at least 40,000 bots or inauthentic accounts online since Hamas attacked Israel from the Gaza Strip on October 7th. The content, visceral, emotionally charged, politically slanted, and often false, has stoked anger and even violence far beyond Gaza, raising fears that it could inflame a wider conflict. Iran, though it has denied any involvement in the attack by Hamas, has threatened as much, with its foreign minister, Hossein Amir-Abdollahian, warning of retaliation on multiple fronts if Israeli forces persisted in Gaza. "It's just like everyone is involved," said Mustafa Ayad, Executive Director for Africa, the Middle East and Asia at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. The Institute, a non-profit research organization in London, last week detailed influence campaigns by Iran, Russia and China. The campaigns do not appear to be coordinated, American and other government officials and experts said, though they did not rule out cooperation. While Iran, Russia and China each have different motivations in backing Hamas over Israel, they have pushed the same themes since the war began. They are not simply providing moral support, the officials and experts said, but also mounting overt and covert information campaigns to amplify one another and expand the global reach of their views across multiple platforms in multiple languages. The Spanish arm of RT, the global Russian television network, for example, recently reposted a statement by the Iranian president calling the explosion at Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza on October 17th an Israeli war crime, even though Western intelligence agencies and independent analysts have since said a missile misfired from Gaza was a more likely cause of the blast. Another Russian overseas news outlet, Sputnik India, quoted a military expert saying, without evidence, that the United States provided the bomb that destroyed the hospital. Posts like these have garnered tens of thousands of views. We're in an undeclared information war with authoritarian countries, James Rubin, the head of the State Department's Global Engagement Center, said in a recent interview. From the first hours of its attack, Hamas has employed a broad, sophisticated media strategy, inspired by groups like the Islamic State. Its operatives spread graphic imagery through bot accounts originating in places like Pakistan, sidestepping bans of Hamas on Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter, according to Tiabra's researchers. A profile on X that bore the characteristics of an inauthentic account, at Rebel Taha, posted 616 times in the first 2 days of the conflict, though it had previously featured content mostly about cricket, they said. One post featured a cartoon claiming a double standard in how Palestinian resistance toward Israel was cast as terrorism, while Ukraine's fight against Russia was self-defense. Officials and experts who track disinformation and extremism have been struck by how quickly and extensively Hamas's message has spread online. That feat was almost certainly fueled by the emotional intensity of the Israeli-Palestinian issue and by the graphic images of the violence, captured virtually in real time with cameras carried by Hamas gunmen. It was also boosted by extensive networks of bots, and soon afterward, official accounts belonging to governments and state media in Iran, Russia and China, amplified by social media platforms. In a single day after the conflict began, roughly 1 in 4 accounts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok and X posting about the conflict appeared to be fake, Tiabra found. In the 24 hours after the blast at Al-Ahli Arab Hospital, more than 1 in 3 accounts posting about it on X were. The company's researchers identified 6 coordinated campaigns on a scale so large, they said, that it suggested the involvement of nations or large non-state actors. The Institute for Strategic Dialogue's report last week singled out Iranian accounts on Facebook and X that have been spreading particularly harmful content that includes glorification of war crimes and violence against Israeli civilians and encouraging further attacks against Israel. Although the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, denied the country's involvement in the attack, the accounts have depicted him as the leader of a pan-Islamic resistance to Israel and neo-colonial Western powers. A series of posts on X by a state-affiliated outlet, Tasnim News Agency, said the United States was responsible for the crimes and showed a video of wounded Palestinians. On Telegram, accounts have also spread false or unverified content, including one widely debunked account that CNN had faked an attack on a television crew. Chiabra also identified an online campaign in Arabic on X from Iraq, evidently from Shiite Muslim paramilitary groups supported by Iran, including the movement of Muqtada al-Sadr. A network of accounts posted identical messages and photos, using the hashtag America sponsor Israel terrorism. Those posts peaked on October 18th and 19, amassing more than 6,000 engagements, and had the potential to reach 10 million viewers, according to Chiabra. Like its military, Israel's social media was caught flat-footed and responded days late, said Ben Decker, the CEO of Memetica, a threat intelligence consulting firm and a former researcher for the New York Times. The response, even when it got off the ground, was chaotic. 2 Israeli government officials, speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss intelligence matters, said Israel was tracking the bot activity from Iran and other countries. They noted that it was larger than any previous campaign they had seen. The war has heightened concerns in Washington and other Western capitals that an alliance of authoritarian governments has succeeded in fomenting illiberal, anti-democratic sentiment, especially in Africa, South America, and other parts of the world, where accusations of American or Western colonialism or dominance find fertile soil. Russia and China, which have grown increasingly close in recent years, appear intent to exploit the conflict to undermine the United States as much as Israel. The State Department's Global Engagement Center, which combats state propaganda and disinformation, has in recent weeks detailed extensive campaigns by Russia and China to shape the global information environment to their advantage. A week before Hamas attacked Israel, the State Department warned in a report that China was employing deceptive and coercive methods to sway global opinion behind its worldview. Since the war began, China has portrayed itself as a neutral peacemaker, while its officials have depicted the United States as a craven warmonger that suffered a strategic failure in the Middle East. As we can see, the international support for Hamas is a complex and evolving issue. What does this all mean? How does the support of these nations impact the ongoing conflict, and what could it mean for the future? The support from China, Russia, and Iran is not just about backing Hamas. It's about asserting their influence in the Middle East and shaping the geopolitical landscape. It's a power play, a strategic move in the chess game of international politics. In the short term, this support emboldens Hamas, providing them with the resources and diplomatic cover to continue their fight. It fuels the conflict, extending the duration and escalating the intensity. And as the conflict rages on, the human cost continues to mount, with civilians caught in the crossfire and infrastructure destroyed, exacerbating an already tense situation. Looking ahead, the support of these nations could potentially reshape the dynamics of the Middle East. It could strengthen the position of Hamas, both within Palestine and in the broader Arab world. It could also shift the balance of power in the region, challenging the status quo and creating new alliances and rivalries. But it's not just about the Middle East. It's also about the global stage. The backing of Hamas by China, Russia, and Iran sends a clear message to the West, particularly the United States. It's a challenge to their dominance, a pushback against their policies, a test of their resolve. And as these nations continue to support Hamas, they are also setting a precedent, showing that they are willing to back non-state actors in their geopolitical pursuits. This could have far-reaching implications, potentially sparking similar dynamics in other conflict zones around the world. The role of China, Russia, and Iran in backing Hamas is a critical factor in understanding the larger geopolitical landscape. It's an intricate web of alliances and interests, a testament to the complexity of international relations. As we continue to watch the events unfold, one thing becomes clear. In the world of international politics, nothing is ever as simple as it seems.